This is Salam Radio, Peterborough's Muslim community radio. Broadcasting on 106.2 FM and online.
Hello and welcome to Salam Radio 106.2 FM. You're listening to Lisa Marie from Raham Project. I'm standing in today for your regular host, Faiza. We are your local midwives sharing midwifery insights with you. If you want to get in touch with us today to share any of your experiences, please email us on info@salamradio.co.uk, or you can comment on the Facebook thread at Salam Radio, which is also shared at Raham Project on our social media too. So today we've got a bit of a change of schedule and we will be talking about the cultural diversity of breastfeeding, safe sleeping and co-sleeping. We're going to touch upon invaluable advice and recommendations from UNICEF and the Lullaby Trust. So why don't you grab yourself a drink, settle in and we'll get started. We're going to begin with breastfeeding today. So we know that breastfeeding is a universal practice, but the way it is approached, it can vary greatly from culture to culture. So UNICEF is a leading advocate for child health, and they provide really good guidelines on supporting breastfeeding globally. And they are the kind of foundation support for with the practices that we teach in the hospitals and as midwives here in the UK. They actually recommend exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months of a baby's life. And that is to then be followed on by continuous breastfeeding alongside introducing solid foods, appropriate foods. But they actually do recommend that you breastfeed up until 2 years of age or beyond. Now, I actually had interesting experiences with my own children breastfeeding. So the first child that I had, I was not a midwife, and it was actually my breastfeeding experience that led me to become a midwife. Now, I really, really struggled with breastfeeding, but I really wanted to feed up until my baby was at least 6 months. I found that journey really hard. It was a completely new experience for me. I went to antenatal education and I learned all about it, and I knew exactly what to expect, and I was going to be absolutely fine with feeding my baby. Then when it came to the crunch, that was a different story. And I found that I struggled at first when I was in the hospital, and I got home and my community midwife was amazing, and she encouraged me, she supported me to feed, she introduced me to breastfeeding support groups, and slowly I really developed that skill of breastfeeding. With my second baby, so I think my first baby I fed until about 3 months, which wasn't quite where I wanted to be, but I took a deep breath, and we have to make the choices that are right for us in the moment, so we can't live with any regrets. And my second child, I was absolutely determined to breastfeed, and I told everyone around me never to say, just give your baby a bottle. And I went through quite an intense breastfeeding journey with my second child, but we ended up feeding for 4 years. Now, thinking about different cultures, actually for me as a white woman, whenever I mention to people that I breastfed for 4 years, generally, not always, but generally the response is, 4 years, really? Why did you do that? So actually for me it was really important because it supported with attachment and bonding and comforting my child. In fact, I consider it as a parenting technique, as well as all the nutrients that are provided for my baby. So I'm really, really happy that I chose to breastfeed, and we continued for 4 years, and we stopped at the time that was right for both me and my child. And I know that in a lot of cultures, actually, it's quite common to feed your baby until they're 1-2 years. And I remember when I was tucking myself away in breastfeeding rooms in Peterborough, I was actually sat with quite a diverse group of people who were feeding their older children, and I felt really comfortable and really at home. And I know that in many African and Asian cultures, breastfeeding, it's not just a health practice, but a deeply ingrained cultural norm. So, for example, in many African communities, breastfeeding is viewed as a communal activity, with extended family members providing support and advice to new mothers. And this was not something I experienced because nobody in my family had breastfed previously. So I felt that I lacked that communal support, and certainly something with the mothers that we work with at Raham Project that I see is this wider network of support for breastfeeding. And although the breastfeeding groups that we advise people to go to, they're fantastic with really skilled and highly trained breastfeeding support workers, I do find in my experience as a community midwife that many mums will say to me, it's okay because my mum, my sister, my auntie, they have all breastfed and they will support me and it will be fine. And I know that Faiza, who is the founder of Raham Project, many of you know Faiza very well, she is a great source of information and support for people in our communities when it comes to breastfeeding in those first few days. And she's supported her sisters through many feeding challenges and then her own, but she lent on people too as well to seek information and support and advice for herself, because it's definitely not something that you can do on your own. You need a wider support system, and that support system helps ensure that breastfeeding practices are maintained and that they're valued. In many South Asian countries, so for example India and Bangladesh, so thinking outside of the UK, breastfeeding is considered essential for the health and well-being of both mother and child. Similar to that in the UK as well, but I don't think we sing about it enough here in the UK. Certainly for mothers, the benefits of breastfeeding would be it reduces your chance of postmenopausal cancers. It can support you to lose weight after your baby is born. So you burn around about 500 calories a day when you're breastfeeding. Now, I do know lots of mums say to me, yes, this is great and it's worked for me and it's helped me lose weight. But there are some mums that say, hang on a second, that didn't work for me. So obviously we're all unique and we're all different in terms of our feeding journeys. So for me, I was eating multiple packets of crisps and lots of cake when I was breastfeeding, and I wasn't gaining a single bit of weight. And I was very concerned that when I stopped breastfeeding, suddenly I would put on lots of weight because I'd still be eating those cakes and crisps. But thinking about your health is really important when you're feeding, because you're losing so much fluid. You need to take in lots of fluid as a mum when you're feeding, and you need to eat regularly. So that's something that partners and family members can really do to support you, is to keep you topped up with your food and your drink. And it's definitely something that I see as a community midwife, and I see as working in Raham Project, that family members are so supportive in that area and they really, really want to help. Thinking back to countries such as India and Bangladesh, it's really common to see mothers breastfeeding in public without stigma, and that's not something we see here in the UK. Quite often we hide ourselves when we're breastfeeding, trying to protect our dignity, and it's often to do with the perception of breastfeeding and that you shouldn't have your breasts out in public. And that is absolutely the case for many cultures, and certainly making sure that you are breastfeeding in a space that feels safe for you is really important. And I have noticed myself as a mum a real decline, certainly in Peterborough, of the spaces that you can go to privately breastfeed. And it's really, really important that you think about where you go and that you're building that into your kind of day-to-day life and your routine. So I'd like to really move on to safe sleeping and co-sleeping. And this is something that we think about when we think about safe sleeping practices. They're crucial for the well-being of little ones. So the Lullaby Trust, I don't know if you've heard of that, it's a leading charity and they're dedicated to preventing sudden infant death syndrome. And they offer some really key recommendations. So sudden infant death syndrome it actually only occurs, it's known as SIDS, or cot death as well is another phrase that is known. And it occurs in 0.03% of all births. So it's actually really rare, but it's important that we make some safe recommendations around sleeping your baby. So the Lullaby Trust actually advise that babies should sleep in the same room as their parents for the first 6 months, but on a separate sleep surface, such as a crib or a bassinet, a next-to-me cot, something that attaches to the side of the bed, and the aim of that is to reduce the risk of sudden infant death syndrome. So I will come on to co-sleeping actually in a moment, but let me talk through the recommendations about sleeping your baby in a separate space to your own bed. So the top recommendations are that you place your baby on their back to sleep. And we understand that this position significantly reduces the risk of sudden infant death syndrome compared to sleeping your baby on their front or their side. The sleep surface should be a firm, flat, waterproof mattress, and that should be in good condition, ensuring the mattress fits really snugly into the crib without any gaps. Bedding for your baby should be free from pillows, toys and loose bedding. So you would use a simple fitted sheet, and you consider sleeping your baby in baby sleeping bags instead of using blankets. And actually that's something that can be quite useful in a co-sleeping situation as well. The room temperature should be kept at a comfortable temperature, which is between 16 to 20 degrees centigrade. So actually for many people that feels really quite cool. So having a thermometer or your regular thermostat can actually help guide you with the temperature, because we understand that overheating is a risk factor for SIDS. So avoid using too many layers or heavy blankets on your baby. Often crocheted or woolen knitted blankets are quite good because they've got holes in that the air can get through, so your baby's body can breathe. It's quite breathable material, and that avoids that overheating. So a smoke-free environment is very, very important. So keeping the baby's sleeping environment free from smoke, both before and after the birth, because we know and we understand that smoking in pregnancy increases the risk of SIDS. And also if you are sharing a bed, when we come on to co-sleeping, we'll think about this. And if you're sharing a bed with a smoker and your baby, that significantly increases the risk of SIDS as well. So let's have a think about co-sleeping. Now, co-sleeping is where the baby sleeps in the same bed as the parents, and it is a practice that's quite common in many cultures around the world and here in the UK. It's seen as a way to strengthen the bond between parent and child, and it helps facilitate nighttime breastfeeding, which is why it's really, really important that we talk about these things together, breastfeeding and co-sleeping. It's a practical solution in many countries where living space is limited, and that belief that it really fosters that closeness between parent and child. And when we think about co-sleeping, let's think about how you can practically co-sleep with your baby. So you would, again, use that advice to always place your baby on their back to sleep. So even in that co-sleeping situation, you keep the adult bedding and pillows and cushions away from the baby. That prevents any chance of suffocation risks. The parents should absolutely not share a bed with their baby if they have consumed any alcohol, any drugs that have made them sleepy, or any drugs at all, if they're extremely tired, and if they have been smoking, as we have talked about already. So those things we know, they significantly increase the risks associated with co-sleeping. Ensuring the baby is on a firm, flat mattress is really important. So thinking about your own mattress there, and you would never, ever co-sleep with a baby on a sofa or in an armchair. So often as parents, what we find is we get extremely tired. So caring for a newborn baby, even an older child, is exhausting. It's hard work. I'm a mum and I absolutely have been there myself. And what we really, really need to do is think about how we can sleep our baby safely when we are really, really tired. So if somebody has never planned to co-sleep with their baby and they're thinking about, oh, how can I stay awake because my baby won't settle, my baby's not sleeping, and they're really, really tired, and they might be walking around with their baby, taking it in shifts with their partner or a family member who is there to help. You're still really tired and your baby's not settling off to sleep properly. Actually, by sitting down on the sofa with your baby trying to stay awake, you might actually find that is a place where you accidentally fall asleep, and that puts your baby at a significantly increased chance of sudden infant death syndrome. It's actually 50 times higher if you fall asleep on a sofa or an armchair with your baby. So planning to co-sleep, even if it's not in your plan to permanently co-sleep with your baby, planning to put your baby somewhere safe to sleep is actually better than finding yourself in that position. Certainly here in Peterborough, we're really fortunate to have excellent support systems for new parents. We have antenatal education where you can learn about the breastfeeding support that is available. You can learn about how to breastfeed. You can learn about safe sleeping, practical tips. There's a few options. So Raham Project offer, through Bernardo's and the Mama Project, we offer antenatal education, which is free, and it's specifically for Black, Asian and mixed ethnicity families. We cover all of these subjects, and there's also the Pathway to Parenting programme that is offered through Bernardo's. That is that's a really great programme, and that will allow you to kind of understand about your baby's developing brain and building bonds and relationships with your baby. All of these things are really important when we're thinking about breastfeeding and co-sleeping. We have the breastfeeding specialist midwives they're infant feeding specialist midwives, because not everybody breastfeeds. We must recognise that. And for some people, they will choose to mixed feed their babies too. And that's a significant practice in some cultures, I have discovered. So the infant feeding midwives at Peterborough City Hospital and Hinchingbrook, who are our local hospital, local trust, they offer antenatal classes where you can go specifically for an hour and a half to learn about breastfeeding. So it's really good information there. They offer drop-in sessions, and you can go along to those drop-in sessions when you're pregnant, but lots of people go and they attend after their baby's born. So if they're having challenges with their breastfeeding journey, they can go and they can get that information. They can get practical advice and support from an infant feeding specialist. Now, there are breastfeeding peer support workers, and we are very fortunate at Raham Project to have some of those breastfeeding peer support workers involved with our organisation as well. Now, they are trained by the National Childbirth Trust, and they run a programme of peer support in the hospital. So you will find that when you are in hospital and you've had your baby, you'll find these incredible people wandering around offering you breastfeeding support. They will sit by your side and they will coach you and guide you through those early days of breastfeeding. They then run breastfeeding support groups across the local area that you can go along and you can attend as your baby grows, right through for your entire journey of breastfeeding, and get some additional information and support. Because remember, I said it is not always straightforward to breastfeed your baby. It's a learning journey for both mother and child. So please do access that support if that is something that you are thinking of doing, if you are breastfeeding yourself now, if you are pregnant and you're thinking about breastfeeding, or if you have friends and family, please talk to them. And I would really love to know if anyone wanted to call into the show. I would really love to know about your experiences of breastfeeding and your support, the support that you have had either from your family or from midwives. As a midwife myself, I will go into somebody's home after their baby's born, and I will sit and I will spend a good hour talking through that breastfeeding journey. That what is it that you as a mum want from your breastfeeding journey? Some people will say to me, I want to feed for 6 months. I want to feed for a year or beyond. And this is the only thing that I want to do. So we spend time and we think about how to make that easier, thinking about the positions that your baby would feed in, which is all sorts of different positions that you can breastfeed your baby. We really look at understanding what the support network is like as well for you as an individual. Who's there to help you? What is available locally? And then thinking about how does that filter in with nighttime feeding and what would you expect? So let's talk a little bit about what breastfeeding looks like and what would you expect from that? So you would expect to see your baby after the first day. You'd expect to see your baby feeding between 8 and 12 times in 24 hours. Now, like you and me, babies don't eat to a schedule, so they wouldn't drink their milk to a schedule. Certainly for me, I will snack a little bit during the day. I will have a couple of main meals. So for a baby, that translates and that looks like, well, perhaps I will feed for 5 minutes. Perhaps I will have a feed maybe an hour later for 30 minutes. Maybe it will be 2 or 3 hours. And I will have a feed for 10 minutes. So it can be variable. But 5 to 45 minutes is a normal time for a baby to feed in one stint, in one feeding session. And that's 8 to 12 times is 24 hours. That's round the clock. So yes, you are waking up at night time to feed your baby as well. And this is where co-sleeping can come in. And co-sleeping in some cultures is really, really helpful and really useful because it means you don't have to physically get out of your bed to feed your baby. You can roll over and feed your baby, which is fantastic. For people that choose to put their baby in their room with them in a separate sleeping space, some people will ask their partners to get up and to get their baby for them and bring their baby to them. So that's a really great way that partners can help out as well with feeding. They can go and get you a little drink in the night time as well. Some mothers choose to express their breast milk, which is absolutely an option for people. We would recommend, as midwives, we would recommend that you establish your breastfeeding before thinking about expressing your milk, unless, of course, you are facing any challenges. So that would be really, really important to consider if you are facing challenges. Having a conversation with a midwife or a health visitor, or having a breastfeeding plan or an infant feeding plan put in place so that you have a clear schedule of what to expect with feeding your baby. Let's assume you've got your breastfeeding established, and then that can take anything from 4 to 8 weeks for most mothers and babies. You can then think about expressing your breast milk, and it's incredible. You can store it. You can keep it out at room temperature for 6 hours. You can pop it in the fridge for 5 days. You can store it in the freezer for 6 months. So actually, it's so versatile and it has such great benefits to it. Now, remember that if you are looking at breastfeeding information, advice and support, you can access that. You can access information through the Raham Project webpage as well, and through your midwife and even your health visitor. So we've spent this first half of the show, which has actually flown really, thinking about breastfeeding, co-sleeping and safe sleeping for your baby. I've barely scratched the surface, but let's go to some adverts in just a few seconds, and we'll be coming back with a completely different topic and a very special guest. Thank you for listening.
You're listening to Salam Radio, and it's now time for Zohar Azan. This Azan is sponsored by UK Islamic Mission, serving humanity since 1962.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa Allah. Ashhadu an la أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر، الله أكبر. لا
الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم، وبارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم في العالمين إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة وابعثه مقاما محمودا الذي وعدته. اللهم آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم بك نحيا وبك نموت وإليك المصير. رضينا بالله ربا وبالإسلام دينا وبمحمد صلى الله عليه وسلم نبيا ورسولا.
اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وعلى
Peterborough's community radio station, Salam Radio, 106.2 FM.
Welcome back to Salam Radio, 106.2 FM. You're listening to Lisa Marie from Raham Project, standing in for your regular host, Faiza. We're your local midwives sharing midwifery insights with you. So the first half of the show, we've been talking about breastfeeding, co-sleeping and safe sleeping. We're going to move on to something a little bit different now, but we'd still love to hear from you, hear your thoughts about that topic. So please share your experiences by emailing us on info@salamradio.co.uk or comment on the Facebook thread at Salam Radio. Now, for those of you that are watching live, you may have noticed I have a guest appear in the room with me in the studio. So I would like to introduce you to my youngest child. This is Anwin. Hello, Anwin.
Hi.
So, Anwin, you have been helping out with Raham Project recently, haven't you?
Yes, so I helped out at the community picnic. There was, if for you, those who were watching live yesterday, but for everyone else on Sunday.
That's right, yes. So we had a community picnic. That was Raham Project's fundraising event, which was amazing. And can you remember how much money we raised?
We raised over £300, which is quite a lot.
Wow, that's brilliant. And that money is going to go straight back into supporting mothers and families through pregnancy and beyond. That's right, isn't it?
Yes.
And what did you do at the community picnic? Because you were volunteering and supporting us, weren't you?
Yes, I was our official photographer, taking photos of all the different families and how we set up and everything.
That's brilliant. And thank you so much. And we couldn't have done the community picnic without the incredible support from our team of volunteers. And I think there was 7 of us. Can you remember?
I think 7 is right.
That's right. And we were wearing bright pink vests, weren't we?
Yeah.
Now, loads of families came along, didn't they? How many children? Or what I know there were lots of children. You probably didn't count them. But what did you get up to with the other children?
So I helped out with the raffle and I played with some of the children. Yeah.
That's great. And we had a good raffle, didn't we? With some amazing prizes. And I hear that you won quite a few of those prizes. What did you win?
So I won a cake and some Harry Potter socks and a £20 voucher for Full of Beans.
Wow, that's amazing. And we had some other awesome prizes. One of our volunteers, Sabila, she made an amazing hamper packed full of mum and baby stuff. Anyone would have been lucky to win that. And we also had some prizes donated to us from the Laser Empire and for Rose's Artistry. It was amazing. And all of that really helped us raise lots of money on the day. And what was the weather like?
It was beautiful and sunny. We had to move from our original spot because it was so sunny. We had to find somewhere where there was a bit more shade.
Couldn't have been better for a community picnic, could it?
No.
So the fundraising events that Raham Project are doing, this is quite new to us because obviously we are a community interest company, which means that any profits we make have to be invested back into the community, but it also allows us to work with volunteers and it allows us to raise money that we can then use to support the community. This was one of our first fundraising events. We had a event at the Breton Community Festival as well earlier in the month, but we actually have another one coming up soon. Now let me tell you all about it. So we're going to talk about the Great Eastern 5-kilometre family fun run. So that's going to be happening right here in Peterborough on the 13th of October 2024. This year, Raham Project are so happy to be an official charity partner. And as you know, we support ethnic minority mothers and families through pregnancy and beyond. So you might be a seasoned runner, you might be a complete beginner, you may never have ever run ever before. But this event is perfect for everyone. So what would you expect on the day? Now, Faiza tells me that a fun run is not something that people may be completely familiar with what happens. So we're going to talk you through that process today and try and get you excited and motivated to join. And Anwen's going to support me with that as well, because they've got some really good tips to share. So why would you consider participating in the Great Eastern Family Fun Run? I'll tell you what, Anwen, tell me why people might want to take part.
They might want to take part because it's a good place to exercise and get to know other people in your community.
That's exactly it. Coming together with your community, having fun with your family, and most importantly, it really helps raise vital funds for Raham Project. So by running and raising money, you're actually going to be helping ensure that families receive support that they need during such a crucial time in pregnancy and once their babies have arrived, and supporting families obviously through parenthood as well. Now, if you've never done a run before, you might be wondering how to get started. So don't worry, we'll guide you through that preparation process. So preparation is key. Training is something that I would love to talk to you about. Now, I'm going to start actually with Anwen about training, because younger participants younger runners, younger people can take part in the 5K Family Fun Run. So as long as you are 4 years or above, you can participate. Now, you might not have run very far if you're 4 years old, or even if you're 11 years old, or even if you're 43 years old like me. So Anwen has done something called Junior Park Run. So Anwen, can you tell us what Junior Park Run is and why it's a good way to prepare for the Great Eastern 5K Fun Run?
Junior Park Run is really a nice way to help build up strength for the 5K Eastern Fun Run, because it's in Central Park. You just run 2K and it's free, and if you have run, so you run 11 times and you get a wristband celebrate, and then 21 times and then 50 times.
Wow, that's amazing. So you get rewarded for running as well.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So it's on a Sunday morning, isn't it, the park run?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, we're going to be there, aren't we, on Sunday the 4th of August. That's this coming Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to be wearing my bright pink Raham Project vest. And why would people want to come on Sunday?
Because it's a nice day to exercise, and you can have a bit of free time to help yourself do and to be outside, and all the volunteers and the people who help out are really friendly, cheering you on and help you which way to go.
Sounds like you really enjoy it when you do it, Anwen.
Yeah, I do.
Amazing. And with us being there from Raham Project, that means Anwen will be running. And running or walking? Do you have to run, Anwen?
No, you can walk, run, jog, really whatever you like.
And that's exactly the same as the Great Eastern Fun Run on the 13th of October, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you don't have to run a fun run. Now, so we'll be there on Sunday morning, and we'll be able to make anyone feel comfortable if they've never been to a park run before. Now, this is the junior park run, remember. So this is for children ages 4 to 14. So parents can run to support their kids as well if they want, can't they?
Yeah.
Will you be making me run on Sunday?
Definitely.
Oh, no. Okay, maybe I'll do a little bit of walking as well. And if adults want to prepare for the Great Eastern 5K Fun Run, they can prepare as well. How do adults do? Do they have an adult park run?
Yes, but that's at Foam Meadows.
On a Saturday morning?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so again, it's the same thing. Walk, run, jog, turn up. All of these events are free. You can look at the Parkrun website for adult parkrun and junior parkrun to find out the details, the locations and the times here in Peterborough. And also the training for the Great Eastern Fun Run. If you want to know that you're able to get through 5K, Bushfield Sports Centre over in Alton, they have training sessions on a Wednesday evening, and they're for everybody from beginners upwards. There's also many free apps and online resources that can help you create a beginner-friendly training plan. So the NHS Couch to 5K programme is a really good example of that. So that's training out the way. Let's say we've been training any time from now right up until October. We need to think about what we might need, what gear, what stuff do we need. So a good pair of running shoes would be a worthwhile investment. Proper footwear is crucial to prevent injuries, and it makes your running experience much more comfortable. Breathable, moisture wicking clothing is ideal, but actually you can just run in anything that you feel comfortable in.
Yeah.
What
Trainers would work in if you can't find yourself any proper running shoes.
Absolutely. There's no need to go out and spend lots of money on expensive kit, is there?
No.
What would you normally wear?
I usually wear, depending on how hot it is, shorts and joggers, a t-shirt and a pair of trainers.
Fantastic. And I assume that if you are running or even walking a bit of a distance, you might need to keep yourself well hydrated. What do you recommend?
I recommend water, and if you know you're probably going to get hungry, like a little snack.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like a little snack when I'm running or doing any kind of exercise. And actually, in the preparation, it's making sure that you eat a nice healthy diet anyway, and you get plenty of rest and sleep, because your body needs time to recover and build its strength as well. Set yourself realistic goals for your run, whether it's completing it without stopping or finishing within a certain time, or anything that will help you get through. So we're all prepared to run the Great Eastern 5K family fun run, but what would you expect on the day? So remember, this is the 13th of October, and on the day, Raham Project will be there to support you. It's a fantastic atmosphere at the Great Eastern Run. There's going to be a half marathon as well, and the 5K fun run. So the 5K fun run kicks off first. When you arrive nice and early, gives you time to find your parking. You'll have your race numbers will be sent out to you in the post. We'll talk about that in a minute. How do you register and how do you raise money for Raham Project? But there'll be group warm-up sessions as well. They'll be led by fitness instructors, and it's a great way to get your muscles ready and join into the community spirit. The run itself, the course is designed to be really enjoyable and accessible for all fitness levels. There'll be clear markers and volunteers along the way to guide you, just like you were saying, Anwen, in the junior park run.
Yeah.
At the Great Eastern Run, you're not going to get lost, because there'll be people to guide you all the way round and cheer you along.
And they'll definitely be friendly.
They really will. And Raham Project team will be there as well to support you. So we'll be at different places around the course, and we'll be cheering you along, and we'll help you on the day. We'll be there to meet you, help you, cheer you on. You'll see our friendly faces, and you'll hear those encouraging cheers from the volunteers and supporters along the route. And if you don't fancy running, you could always go out and watch and cheer us all on as well. And when you cross that finish line, it is a moment of triumph. Your personal goal, you've done it. I've done it myself. I've done it once before. It was 6 months after I had my first baby. I did the Great Eastern 5K fun run, and I made it across the finish line, and I was so proud of myself. I didn't think I'd be able to do it because I could barely run. You'll get a medal as a memento of your participation as well. So, and then the Raham Project stand will be there in the event village, and we'll welcome you at the end, and we'll give you those high fives to say well done, and we'll offer you a nice drink as well. So, how do people fundraise for Raham Project whilst doing this 5k fund run? So actually, Raham Project is offering a free place in the fun run if you can commit to raising £120. Now, we've talked about children taking part. Children aged 4 and above can participate and raise money as well. And it's a fantastic opportunity to involve the whole family in a very, very meaningful cause. So once you register, you'll receive a fundraising pack from us, which includes lots of information, tips and resources to help you reach your fundraising goal, and about what to expect on the day and how to prepare. So we can also help you set up an online fundraising platform where you can track your progress, share your story with your family and friends. Does this sound exciting to you, Anwen?
Yeah, I've heard all about it. I really want to take part in it.
Amazing. And do you think you could run 5 kilometres?
I'm not sure I could fully run, but I think I could try my hardest to run.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And running and walking, jogging, and all that support that you get along the way, you won't notice it at all. It will fly by. So Raham Project will keep in touch with you. We'll provide you with updates, encouragement before you run, and additional fundraising ideas as well. And we're absolutely committed to helping you succeed this 5k fun run. We've talked about what we'll do on the day to support you as well. We'll be present, we'll be there to offer you any assistance you need. So from those pre-run nerves to celebrating after you've finished. And you can register for your free place and start your fundraising journey by emailing sabila.raham@gmail.com. We'll share this in the thread as well at the end so that you know exactly how to get in touch with us. And then we will send you your registration link. So we know that participating in the Great Eastern 5k Family Fun Run is such a great way to get active and enjoy quality time with your family. Anwen, have you ever raised any money for any charity? Because some people might find that asking other people for money, which is how we get sponsors for the 5k Fun Run, it might be quite difficult. So there are other ways that you can raise money for charity. And now, Anwen, I know that this is something that you do quite a lot. You're really passionate about supporting charities and organisations, aren't you? Tell me a little bit about what you've done.
So I have created at my house one half term a cafe, so for one day. So we messaged some of my friends and family, and then some of them came and we asked for donations to help the charity Red Wings Horse Sanctuary. So the cafe, I think we raised £35.56.
That's amazing. So you made cake, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is something that you can do to raise some money, is you can hold a little bake sale just for your family and friends. It's such a great idea, Anwen. Have you got any other ideas, ways people might be able to raise some money?
You could just go and help people out and volunteer at places.
Yeah, that's a really great way of giving your time to organisations, isn't it? And it's exactly what we find here at Raham Project. We have some really selfless people that want to provide support to other mums and families, and they come and they give their time to us, which is so valuable to organisations. So thank you. Other ideas for raising money? I wonder if there's anyone out there listening that's got any other ideas for raising money. So for me, it would be doing a bake sale would be a great way. Perhaps selling some bits and pieces that I don't want anymore and then using that money. I remember I sold all my baby stuff actually. This was a long time ago when Anwin was about 2 years old. I went to a mum and baby sale with my husband, and we were both raising money for different organisations, and we got rid of all the stuff that we didn't need anymore that was cluttering the house. We didn't have anyone to pass it on to, sadly, so we sold it, and all of that money we managed to raise and split between our two organisations. I can't remember how much we raised then, but it's a really great way of getting that extra money and reaching that £120 target. If you're finding that you're struggling to get to that point in fundraising, is thinking a little bit outside the box. And that's what we're here to support with at Raham Project. So if you choose to run the Great Eastern Fun Run with Raham Project, you get all of that support from us, all the way from the moment you register right up until the race and afterwards. So, do you have any final thoughts about fundraising and about the things that you've done to support Raham Project, and when?
Not really. I'm quite happy about how much we raised from the picnic when we're thinking about fundraising, and all the spare food I think we gave it away for homeless charity.
That's right, we did. Yeah, we managed to sell from the picnic. We managed to sell any food that was left over, sell that on to other people, and what was left was given to some homeless shelters. And we did exactly the same with any food that was left over from the Breton Community Festival fundraising day, because we absolutely should do that. We should support people wherever we can, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Now, let's talk a little bit about what the money will do and why you could actually help Raham Project with this fundraising. So your money that you raise for Raham Project is going to go directly back to the community. We provide all sorts of support. Now we have the face-to-face events that we host. We have a walk and talk. Now, Anwin, have you been along to one of our walk and talks before?
Yeah.
You have. What did we do?
So we went for a walk around Central Park, and we talked about mother and baby care.
Yeah, exactly that. And it's such a great chance for mums to meet each other, to get some exercise, come rain or shine. We are there every month on the fourth Monday of every month, except August. I'm just going to say, because in August we're having a little bit of a break. We know that mums are busy with the kids at home, and some people are away on holidays as well, and people like to have their lie-ins. But every other month of the year, the fourth Monday at 9:30 a.m, our team of volunteers are at Central Park, and they'll walk around, we'll welcome you, and it's a great chance just to improve your emotional well-being and get lots of information and support from midwives, from doulas, and from dedicated Raham Project volunteers. The other events that we hold face-to-face, we have a lunch club, which we host in partnership with Bernardo's. And this is a wonderful event where mothers can come along, fathers too if they want to. But I know a lot of mums have said they like a mums-only space for the lunch club, which is something we're working on, and we're hoping to evolve next September onwards. It's a mums only space where you can come along and you can get a cheap meal and connect with other mums and families. Now, Raham Project also provides lots of information on our website, rahamproject.org.uk. And if you go to /RP Hub, now Now, there is lots of information there about pregnancy, about birth, about your newborn baby. We have some information about mental well-being and also about pregnancy loss. It's all written by midwives. It's up-to-date, evidence-based information, so you can find out there anything that you need to know, or you can reach out to us and ask us some questions through our channels too. And we also have a Facebook online support group with over 600 mums from diverse communities in, so come and connect with us. Now, we are coming to the end of our show. Alwyn, you've been amazing for this last half of the show. Thank you so much for coming and chatting with us.
It's okay.
It's been really wonderful to have you. And please do sign up for the Great Eastern 5K Fun Run to support Raham Project to raise some funds. We are taking a break from our show during August, but we hope to be back in September, and you'll have your usual host Faiza come along as well. And we really, really look forward to chatting with you then. And we've got some great topics. Pregnancy sickness is going to be one of our highlight conversations in September. Thank you again for tuning in and listening to us today.
Bye.
Stay tuned to